Part 1, Love, War, and the Wounds We Don't See. It begins with a kiss and ends with a wound. You meet someone, and there is a spark, a promise, a sense of home. But soon, that home becomes a war zone. Every smile hides a blade. Every disagreement becomes a siege. Every silence feels like abandonment. And you wonder, how did something so beautiful become so violent? Today we are going into the heart of that question. This is not just about relationships. This is about the human condition, about why we build connection with one hand and destroy it with the other. We're diving into the psychology of people who turn love into a battlefield. And if you're brave enough to follow, you might discover that some of these patterns live not just in others but in you. From the outside, these relationships look chaotic, arguments that spiral out of control, emotional landmines everywhere. One moment, passion, the next, punishment. But beneath the surface lies something deeper. A war that didn't begin in the relationship but long before inside the psyche of each person. Most of the time, the battlefield is not the relationship itself. The battlefield is the self. The war is internal. The relationship just becomes the stage. Sigmund Freud once said, "Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways." This is exactly what happens in love-turn-war. When we carry unresolved pain, unhealed wounds, unmet needs from childhood, we bring them into our closest bonds. Love becomes the trigger, the mirror, the battlefield. And what we're really fighting is not our partner but our past. Think about this. Have you ever met someone who seems addicted to conflict? Who provokes, pushes, escalates even when things are calm? These are not just angry people. Often they are terrified. Calm feels unfamiliar. Peace feels unsafe. Love, when not complicated by chaos, feels suspicious. So they pick a fight. Not because they hate you, but because it's the only way they know how to feel close. In their world, love equals tension. Intensity equals intimacy. This is where trauma psychology comes in. Many people who turn love into war are operating from what psychologists call a trauma bond. In these bonds, pain and affection are fused together. They learned early that love comes with punishment, that affection is unpredictable, that safety is always conditional. So when they finally receive healthy love, it feels alien. Their nervous system doesn't trust it, so they recreate the chaos they know. And that chaos becomes the new normal. Here's the paradox. They're not trying to destroy the relationship. They're trying to survive it. Their tactics, manipulation, withdrawal, blame, control are not born from malice, but fear. The fear of abandonment, the fear of being seen, the fear of losing control. And yet, the very behaviors they use to protect themselves end up sabotaging the love they crave. It's a tragic loop, and unless we become conscious of it, we repeat it over and over again.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Let's pause and ask a deep question. What does love mean to you? Not the poetic answer, the real one. The one your nervous system responds to. Is love safety? Or is it drama? Is it peace? Or is it struggle? Because how you define love deep in your subconscious will determine who you choose, how you act, and what you tolerate. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "There is always some madness in love, but there is also always some reason in madness." The madness of battlefield love is not random. It has a pattern, a logic, a history. And if we want to escape it, we must first understand it. One of the key patterns is projection. In battlefield relationships, we project our inner wounds onto our partner. We make them responsible for emotions they didn't create. If we feel abandoned, we accuse them of neglect. If we feel unworthy, we demand constant reassurance. If we feel powerless, we try to control. And in doing so, we create the very pain we fear. We turn love into war because we're trying to resolve a war that started within. Another pattern is repetition compulsion. This is the unconscious drive to recreate early emotional experiences, especially painful ones, in an attempt to gain mastery over them. If we were ignored as children, we may choose partners who are emotionally unavailable. If we were criticized, we may pick someone who is harsh. Why? Because part of us believes that if we can make it work this time, we will finally heal the original wound. But healing never comes through repetition. It comes through transformation. Let's explore another layer. Some people use love as a battlefield because it gives them identity. In conflict, they feel alive. In pain, they feel real. The fight becomes the fuel. Without it, they feel empty. So they provoke, sabotage, destroy, not because they want to, but because they don't know who they are without the war. This is identity trauma. When our sense of self is built around suffering, we seek partners who help us maintain that narrative. But here's the most dangerous dynamic: when both people in a relationship carry these patterns, then love becomes a mutual battleground. Each person triggering the other, escalating, retreating, attacking, apologizing, repeating. It becomes a loop of hope and hurt. And the more you try to fix it without deep inner work, the worse it becomes. Because love cannot survive in a battlefield. It can only survive in a garden. And gardens require peace, presence, and nurturing. No war. Here's a painful truth. Love is not enough. You can love someone deeply and still destroy them if you haven't healed. Passion does not equal compatibility. Intensity does not equal safety. And without emotional maturity, even the strongest love will implode under the weight of unprocessed pain. So what can you do if you are in a battlefield love? First, name the war. Be brutally honest about the patterns, the manipulation, the control, the explosions, the silence. Name them without shame, but with clarity, because what we do not name, we cannot change. Second, take radical responsibility, not for your partner's actions, but for your own. Ask yourself, what am I bringing into this dynamic? What wounds am I projecting? What patterns am I repeating? As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Third, create distance, not necessarily physical but emotional. Step back enough to observe the pattern without being trapped in it. This is what mindfulness is for. Not just to find peace, but to see clearly, to observe your triggers, your fears, your reactions, and to choose a different response. Fourth, seek help, real help, not just advice from friends or social media, but deep, therapeutic work. Healing trauma is not a solo journey. It requires guidance, courage, and often the pain of re-experiencing what we've spent years avoiding. And finally, ask yourself, do I want peace more than I want to be right? Do I want connection more than I want control? Do I want love that heals or love that hurts? Because we can only have one. Love and war cannot coexist. When we begin to choose peace over power, vulnerability over control, empathy over ego, something shifts. The battlefield begins to dissolve. The explosions become conversations. The silence becomes space. The relationship becomes a mirror, not a war. And in that mirror, we begin to see ourselves not as enemies, but as allies. Part 2. Emotional grenades in the language of defense. Why do we hurt the ones we love most? Why do we throw emotional grenades at the very person we once whispered dreams to? The truth is uncomfortable. Somewhere along the way, many of us began to believe that love is a place where we must defend, not surrender, where we must anticipate betrayal, not trust, where we must win, not connect. And so, without realizing it, we trade affection for armor. We speak not from the heart, but from the trenches. In battlefield love, conflict becomes communication. We don't talk, we attack. We don't listen, we reload. And in this war, words are weapons. Silence is a sniper. Distance is a missile. Every interaction becomes a test. Will you hurt me? Will you abandon me? Will you dominate me? And when you're living in that kind of emotional war zone, even kindness feels suspicious. Even love feels like manipulation. Let's get clear. Most of us are not taught how to feel, express, or receive love in a healthy way. We are taught how to perform, how to please, how to protect ourselves. This is why in moments of vulnerability we default to defense. We throw emotional grenades, sarcasm, blame, criticism, passive aggression, not because we want to destroy love, but because we don't feel safe enough to let our guard down. But here's the paradox. The very defenses we use to protect love are the ones that kill it. Jean-Paul Sartre once said, "Hell is other people." But what he really meant is this: hell is what happens when we cannot see other people clearly, when we see only our projections, our fears, our unmet needs. In battlefield relationships, we stop seeing our partner as they are. We see them as the enemy, as the parent who failed us, as the ex who betrayed us, as the threat to our fragile sense of self. And so we react, not to the present moment, but to ancient ghosts. Let's talk about emotional reactivity. In healthy love, emotions are signals. They help us understand our needs and boundaries. But in battlefield love, emotions become triggers. We get hijacked. One raised eyebrow sparks an argument. One delay in a text response unravels the entire relationship. This isn't about the toothbrush on the sink or the tone in their voice. It's about what those things represent. And what they represent is fear. The fear of rejection, inadequacy, abandonment, or loss of control. Have you ever stopped mid-fight and wondered, what are we really fighting about? That's the moment of awakening. Because most of the time, we're not fighting about the surface issue. We're fighting because we don't feel seen. We don't feel safe. We don't feel heard. So we escalate, we defend, we lash out. And in doing so, we destroy the very connection we long for. One of the most common emotional grenades in battlefield love is blame. Blame is seductive. It gives us a sense of moral superiority. It keeps us from having to face our own shadows. But blame is also a dead end. It locks both people in a prison of resentment. When we blame, we say, "You are the problem. I am the victim." And nothing changes, because healing does not happen in blame. It happens in responsibility. Another weapon is withdrawal. When things get hard, we shut down. We go cold. We disappear emotionally. This is not strength. It's avoidance. It's emotional abandonment. And it is just as violent as yelling. Because silence, when used as a weapon, creates a cavern between two people, a void where intimacy once lived. So why do we keep using these weapons? Why do we keep turning love into a war zone? Because it's what we know. Because when you grow up in emotional chaos, calm feels dangerous. When you've been hurt, control feels like safety. When you've been unseen, validation feels like survival. And so we don't just fall in love, we armor up. We prepare for battle. Just in case. But here's the hard truth. You cannot experience real love while living in defense. Real love requires openness, vulnerability, surrender. You cannot hold a sword and embrace someone at the same time. And until we learn to disarm, we will keep turning every relationship into a battlefield, even with people who want to love us. The philosopher Martin Buber said, "All real living is meeting." But in battlefield love, we don't meet each other. We meet our projections, our wounds, our scripts. We act out roles we didn't choose. The angry one, the avoidant one, the controller, the victim. And unless we become conscious of these roles, we stay trapped in them. We become predictable, rigid, unreactivity. So how do we disarm? How do we stop the war? First, we must get radically honest about our emotional weapons. What's your go-to defense? Blame? Withdrawal? Criticism? Control? Identify it. Own it. Because the moment you name your weapon, you take away its power. You step out of automatic reaction and into conscious response. Second, we must learn to self-regulate. Most battlefield love is a result of dysregulation. When our nervous system is overwhelmed, we lose access to empathy, logic, and compassion. We go into fight or flight. And in that state, love becomes impossible. So we must learn tools, breath work, grounding, journaling, somatic practices. Not just to feel better, but to stay connected when things get hard. Third, we must practice emotional expression without violence. This means learning to say, "I feel hurt," instead of "you're selfish." It means replacing accusation with vulnerability, replacing sarcasm with truth, replacing defensiveness with curiosity. This is not easy. It requires maturity, presence, and a willingness to risk rejection. But it is the only way to build real intimacy. Fourth, we must redefine love. Love is not about control. It's not about being right. It's not about winning. Love is about understanding, about creating a safe space where both people can be fully seen, fully heard, and fully accepted even in their mess. Love is not a battlefield. It's a sanctuary. But only if we make it one. And finally, we must become aware of our emotional lineage. What did your parents model for you about love? Was it safe, chaotic, distant, overbearing? Because unless we examine that blueprint, we will unconsciously recreate it. And here's the challenge. Instead of repeating what you inherited, you must create what you never received. That is the work. That is the revolution. Ask yourself now, what would it feel like to love without defense? What would it feel like to speak without fear? To be close without control? To disagree without destruction? To be fully seen and still feel safe? Let that question sit in your soul for a moment. Because when we answer it honestly, we begin to see the real enemy in love is not our partner. It's not even conflict. The real enemy is fear. And fear only wins when we forget who we are beneath the armor. You are not your wounds. You are not your triggers. You are not your defenses. You are someone who wants to love and be loved. Deeply, freely, safely. And when you remember that, the battlefield dissolves, the war ends, and love, real love, begins. Part 3. The end of war. Becoming a peaceful warrior of love. There comes a moment in every battlefield relationship, a final breaking point or a quiet realization, where the question arises, do I want to keep fighting or do I want to start healing? This is the moment of truth. The end of war doesn't begin with a ceasefire from both sides. It begins with one person deciding that peace is no longer optional. It is necessary. That person can be you, Becoming a peaceful warrior of love doesn't mean becoming passive. It doesn't mean tolerating abuse or silencing your truth. It means learning how to stand in your power without aggression, how to speak your truth without violence, how to guard your heart without closing it. It is the deepest form of strength, to remain soft in a hard world, to choose love in a space that has known only war. The first key to this transformation is awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. Most people who turn love into war do so unconsciously. They are reenacting emotional scripts they didn't write, playing out roles they were forced into. Becoming a peaceful warrior means stepping out of the script. It means asking, whose voice is this in my head? Who taught me that love has to hurt? Who convinced me that power means control? Questions like these are not just reflective. They are revolutionary. The second key is inner reparenting. Many of us are wounded children walking around in adult bodies. We expect our partners to meet needs that our caregivers failed to meet. We want them to soothe our insecurity, calm our anxiety, validate our worth. But this is too much pressure for any relationship. Becoming a peaceful warrior means learning to give yourself what you keep demanding from others. It means becoming the parent you never had, the protector, the nurturer, the witness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of emotional mastery. You cannot control how your partner feels. You cannot control their triggers, their wounds, their perceptions. But you can control your response. You can stay grounded in the storm. You can choose not to escalate. And in doing so, you become the anchor, not the wave. The third key is truth-telling. The battlefield ends when we stop hiding behind pride, behind sarcasm, behind fake smiles and silent treatments. Real love requires real truth. And real truth begins with vulnerability. You must be willing to say, "I'm scared. I feel hurt. I don't know how to do this. I want to love you, but I don't know how to stop defending myself." These are not weak statements. They are sacred ones. They are the language of the heart learning how to speak again. But truth-telling also includes boundaries. Being a peaceful warrior doesn't mean allowing someone to walk all over you. It means knowing your worth so deeply that you can say no without guilt, stop without apology. This is not love without shame. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates. They don't keep love out. They protect it. Now let's talk about forgiveness, not the kind we are taught in self-help books, but the kind that emerges when we've truly seen our own shadow, when we realize we've hurt as much as we've been hurt, when we see that our partner's pain is not personal, but historical. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It's not pretending. It's seeing clearly and choosing peace anyway. It's saying, "I understand why you've built defenses. I understand why I built mine too, and I choose not to fight you for your wounds." This is the deepest kind of love, not romantic love, but soul love. The kind that sees through the mask and touches what's underneath. The kind that says, "I see your fear and I won't punish you for it. I see your wounds and I won't weaponize them. I see your mess and I choose to stay present." But let's be clear. Staying present is not the same as staying stuck. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and the other is to walk away. To say, "I love you, but I will not keep bleeding for this love. I will not make a home in a war zone." What if we told ourselves a new story about love? What if love wasn't a place to prove ourselves, but to be ourselves? What if it wasn't a battlefield, but a sanctuary? What if the conflict wasn't a sign that the relationship is broken, but that something within us is trying to heal? Could we begin to see our triggers not as enemies, but as teachers? Could we meet our partner not as an opponent, but as a mirror? This is the invitation of love, not to win, but to wake up, not to conquer, but to connect. And connection requires courage. The courage to be wrong, the courage to be soft, the courage to let go of the need to control and instead to trust. Trust that love is not a game. It is not a performance. It is a practice. And practice means failing, learning, growing together. So how do we practice this kind of love, especially after years of war? Start small. In the middle of a fight, take a breath. Instead of accusing, ask a question. Instead of defending, reveal something. Say, "Help me understand you." Or, "I'm feeling defensive right now, but I want to stay connected." These small shifts change everything. They change the nervous system. They change the tone. They change the outcome. Start with yourself. Notice your patterns. Where do you shut down? Where do you explode? What do you fear most? Abandonment, rejection, being wrong. Trace that fear back. See where it started. Hold it like a child. Comfort it. Teach it that safety is found not in control, but in presence. And most of all, stay open, even when it's hard, even when it's unfamiliar. Because openness is the soil where love grows. And when we close in fear, in pride and pain, we kill the very seeds we planted. Khalil Gibran once wrote, "Let there be spaces in your togetherness." That space is where love breathes. It's where empathy lives. It's where transformation happens. Love is not found in constant closeness, in winning every argument, in proving our point. It is found in the quiet moments when we choose to stay soft, when we choose to return to peace, even after the war. So now the question becomes, are you ready to end the war? Not just with your partner, but with yourself. Are you ready to stop fighting for love and start embodying it? Are you ready to be the peaceful warrior, the one who leads with compassion, who speaks with truth, who loves with boundaries, who forgives with wisdom? Because that's what the world needs right now. Not more people who can win arguments, but people who can hold space, who can stay present, who can feel deeply and love wisely. People who can say, "I know how to fight, but I choose to heal